Have you ever looked at your partner and felt less like their lover and more like their project manager? Or, on the flip side, have you ever looked at your partner and felt less like their equal and more like a naughty teenager waiting to be scolded for forgetting the trash? If you are nodding your head, you are stuck in what psychologists call the ADHD parent-child dynamic. It is the single most common killer of intimacy in neurodiverse relationships. It's not just about chores. It is a psychological poison that erodes respect. Because here is the hard truth that we are going to face today. You cannot be sexually attracted to someone you are parenting, and you cannot be sexually open with someone who is policing you. Today, we aren't just giving you a chore chart. We are going into the deep psychology of why this happens and giving you the 2026 rigorous exit strategy based on the work of experts like Melissa Orlov and the overfunctioning, underfunctioning family systems model. We are going to cover three things: the diagnosis, why the parent nags and the child hides; the resignation, how the non-ADHD partner stops saving the day; and the ownership, how the ADHD partner moves from helping to owning. Let's get to work. Part 1. The diagnosis, the lethal cycle. First, we need to understand the mechanism. Why does this happen? It usually starts with good intentions. The non-ADHD partner, let's call them the organizer, notices things slipping through the cracks: unpaid bills, lost keys. To reduce their own anxiety, they step in to help. The ADHD partner, let's call them the dreamer, who likely struggles with executive dysfunction, feels relieved at first. But over time, a toxic loop forms. Look at this cycle. It works like this. The organizer overfunctions. They remind, they nag, they schedule. They think, if I don't do it, disaster will strike. The dreamer underfunctions. They withdraw. They wait to be told what to do. Why? Because of something Dr. William Dodson calls Rejection Sensitive Dysphoria, or RSD. RSD is common in ADHD. It means that a simple question like, "Did you pay the bill?" is heard emotionally as, "You are a failure and I can't trust you." To avoid that pain, the ADHD partner shuts down or avoids the task. This triggers the organizer's panic. They think, they aren't listening, I have to yell to be heard. So they increase the control. The result? The organizer becomes resentful and exhausted. The ADHD partner becomes passive and defensive. And the bedroom goes dead. Dr. John Gottman, the world-renowned relationship researcher, tells us that contempt is the #1 predictor of divorce. This dynamic breeds contempt. The parent feels contempt for the child's incompetence. The child feels contempt for the parent's controlling nature. To fix this, we have to break the loop, and that starts with the organizer. Part 2. The exit strategy for the non-ADHD partner. If you are the non-ADHD partner, I'm going to ask you to do something that feels terrifying. I want you to draft a resignation letter. I don't mean resigning from the relationship. I mean resigning from the role of general manager of the universe. Melissa Orlov, author of The ADHD Effect on Marriage, argues that you cannot force your partner to change by nagging. You can only change your own behavior. Right now, you are overfunctioning. You are managing your partner's executive function because you are afraid of the consequences. Here's the fix. You must move from managing to boundary setting. The actionable step is stop saving them from small consequences. Let me give you a concrete example. The wrong way, you remind your partner 5 times to pack their lunch for work. You text them at noon to make sure they ate. You are managing their hunger. The right way, you say nothing. They go to work, they get hungry. They have a bad afternoon. This is painful to watch, but you must let reality be the teacher. As long as you are the reminder system, they don't need to build their own system. Now, this doesn't mean you let the house burn down. You don't let them forget to pick up the kids from school. But for personal responsibilities, laundry, lunches, their own appointments, you must step back. You need to have a conversation that sounds like this. I love you too much to be your mother. I miss being your lover. So as of today, I'm resigning from managing your schedule. I trust you to handle it, and I trust you to handle the fallout if you don't. This forces the dynamic to shift. It creates a vacuum that the ADHD partner must fill. Part 3. The re-entry strategy for the ADHD partner. Now I'm speaking to the ADHD partner. If your partner resigns, you cannot just sit there. You have to step up. But you can't just try harder. Trying harder doesn't work with an ADHD brain. You need a different strategy. Your current mindset likely is, just tell me what to do and I'll help. We need to delete the word help from your vocabulary. When you help, you're implying that the household is your partner's job and you are just a lowly assistant. That is the definition of a child. Adults don't help in their own home. They own. Look at this iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is the physical task, like walking the dog. The bottom of the iceberg is the mental load. Noticing the dog needs shots, booking the vet, buying the food before it runs out, knowing where the leash is. If you just walk the dog when asked, you are only doing the tip of the iceberg. Your partner is still carrying the massive weight of the mental load underneath. The fix? You need a domain ownership plan. You need to pick a domain, let's say dinner on Tuesdays or the trash, and you need to own it 100%, from conception to completion. This means your partner never has to think about it. They can delete that file from their brain. If you have ADHD, you're likely thinking, but I'll forget. Yes, you will. That is why you need the third entity. Part 4. The structural fix. The third entity. We cannot rely on willpower, and we definitely cannot rely on your spouse's memory. We need a bad guy that isn't your partner. We call this the third entity. In the old way, your partner says, "Did you pay the electric bill?" You always forget. This triggers your defensive RSD. You fight. In the new way, the system is the bad guy. You set up an automated system, autopay, a shared calendar alert that pings both phones 48 hours before the bill is due. When the notification pops up, it's not your partner nagging you, it's the phone. You can say, "Oh, the calendar says the bill is due. I'm on it." This changes the dynamic from you versus me to us versus the problem. This is how you externalize executive function. You use apps, alarms, and visual cues to replace your partner's nagging voice. Part 5. The Partnership Realignment Protocol. So how do we put this all together? You can't just watch this video and hope things change. You need a protocol. We recommend a strategy adapted from Dr. Hallowell and the Gottman Institute, the weekly logistics meeting. Here is the rule. Do not talk about chores on date night. Date night is for romance, dreams, and connection. Instead, schedule a 20-minute meeting once a week. Sunday morning usually works best. Here is the script for that meeting. The appreciation, 2 minutes. Start by thanking each other for something specific. Thanks for handling the dog this week. This soothes the ADHD brain's fear of rejection, RSD. The calendar review, 10 minutes. Look at the week ahead. Who's picking up the kids? What bills are due? This is where the third entity, the calendar, runs the show. The domain check, 5 minutes. The ADHD partner reports on their owned domain. Just so you know, I bought the dog food. It arrives Tuesday. This rebuilds trust. The non-ADHD partner sees that the mental load is being shared. The resignation reminder, 3 minutes. The non-ADHD partner kindly reiterates boundaries. I notice the garage is messy. I know that's your domain, so I'm leaving it to you to handle by Saturday. Then the meeting ends, and you go back to being lovers. From parent-child to adult-adult. Let's summarize. You are breaking the parent-child trap. The non-ADHD partner, you are resigning from the role of manager. You are letting small failures happen so that your partner can learn to fly. You are choosing your sanity over control. The ADHD partner, you are moving from compliance to ownership. You are taking the mental load, not just the physical task. You are using tools, not your spouse, to stay on track. This is not an overnight fix. The ADHD brain takes time to build new habits. The anxious non-ADHD brain takes time to learn to trust again. but the goal is worth it. The goal isn't to clean house. The goal is looking across the table and seeing an equal, seeing an adult, seeing a lover. Thank you for watching. Go do it now. Reclaim your relationship.